Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe Nascal here, and it's time for episode 59. Mr. Billy Tucci, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
I am good, and yes, hello everybody. I am teen sensation Billy Tucci.
The teen sensation on the teen beat, Mr. Billy T.
Oh, oh man, now what a crazy day! I'm sitting there drawing. I'm working on this ash can, finishing it up. We're getting it should go to the printer tomorrow for she. We get that to Artist Express tomorrow. Get that, and then we'll get that done next week. We'll get the book shipped to us next week and ship it out to everybody right after the Baltimore Comic Con. So it's crazy. It's crazy, Scala.
Crazy, bro. So how far are you with all these beautiful sketches you're doing?
We're doing good. I'm actually playing with some things. I just redid some faces. I don't know if you could see. I have Hotaru's face.
Oh, I like that.
So fixing her.
Nice.
You know, and then it's going to get overlaid into the art and Anna's face, and then there's another little scene. But, you know, enough about me. Are we episode 59, almost our 60th episode?
60th episode will be this coming Tuesday.
Well, oh, my gosh. Well, I got to tell you, this is a great one because this is another one of our fan shows right now.
Oh, yes.
You know, the people that we're fans of, and we're so excited that Mr. Howie Knoll had agreed to come on to our show.
Mm-hmm.
But if we talk about Howie, I mean, man, he has to put on his best goth gear, go hunt down some ghosts, goblins, squashes, aliens, zombie dogs, possess evil dolls, and swamp people. So without further ado, can we introduce the master? Well, I'm trying to look at my monitor. I sit up here, so I'm looking at you here.
The master of paranormal comicry.
Yes, the king of paranormal comics. So, if we may, without further ado, please let us introduce you to someone who we're huge fans of, ladies and gentlemen, Crusaders and Centurions the world over, Mr. Howie Knoll.
Wow, thank you so much. What an introduction.
Yes. Welcome to the show, Howie.
Who could end the show now?
There you go. All right, everyone. Thanks for attending.
There we go. Good night.
So, Howie, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited. The Kickstarter's doing great, and it's a huge honor to be on the show. And thank you so much for inviting me. And, Billy, you have to write my obituary. That's official.
By George, man, I was thinking about a career doing that. You know, I think that I could be a good help to it. I mean, I think I could you know, make kings of princes and princes of vagabonds.
Yeah, I'm definitely using King of Paranormal Comics from now on.
Yes, and bishops of thieves.
You need to have a crown made.
So,
oh, well, if we hit our goal.
There you go.
You could make that a stretch goal. I need a crown.
21 days left. You've got over $6,000, and with Paranormal, should we? Before we jump into Paranormal, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up? You know, about you. Let everyone know. Who is Howie Knoll?
Well, Howie Knoll was born in Long Island, New York, and then his family moved him every so many years. So I've lived in a bunch of places. I grew up. After they moved me from New York, I grew up in a little town called South Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is the home of Little League baseball. That's what it's known for. And from there, I always drew growing up. My mom's an artist, so it was just always, everybody always encouraged it, you know, from the great teachers at school that I had. Everybody encouraged it, and I just have continued to do it. I knew from the beginning I wanted to do cartoons. I wanted to draw my own stuff, and here we are many decades later, and I'm doing it. So it's very, you know, I went to art school at Pratt in Brooklyn, New York. So, you know,
very nice.
There was some training there. Yeah.
Went Howie Knoll. No, okay. No, Pratt's not a cheap school. It's one of the premier colleges, art schools in the country.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's still going. But the payment is still going. So,
Howie, where'd you grow up in Long Island, or where were you born?
Islip, and then I was only there as a baby, and then they moved me to the Poconos.
Okay.
And then they moved me to another place in Pennsylvania. But my dad always worked there. So my dad was a sales rep, so he would commute, from Pennsylvania to Mondays. He'd be in New York for the week. So I always had this like pull to be in New York, and that I always knew I wanted to go to college there and live there. So, it was always in there. And now, even though then I spent a long time here after college, and then moved to Maryland for a bit. And that's why Terranormal takes place in outside of Baltimore, because I was so inspired by all the weird stuff there, and Edgar Allan Poe's there. And then we moved from there, and I'm back in Jersey, which is close to New York, so I can't get away.
Are you going to the Baltimore Comic-Con?
Not this year, but I know Mark, who runs it, and he's just a great show. I love that show. I love Mark, and it's one of the best. So I want to get back there maybe next year.
Yeah, we would have loved to have had you be a part of our little Isaac Con, we're calling it now.
It's now the Isaac Con.
I think you kind of started it, so I think it's only apropos, if that's okay with you, Niall.
So Scotch Con is officially now Isaac Con.
Yes, and I think it always was Isaac Con, but it's going to be great. And, well, if you want to take a jaunt down to Maryland, let us know Saturday evening. We'd love to have you as a part of our fellowship.
Oh, man. Well, now that I've been invited, it's kind of like a vampire. Once you invite me, I have, I kind of have to go in and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, Howie, tell us a little bit, though, growing up, drawing. I mean, what were your inspirations? Was it more animation, cartoons that were inspiring you? Was it comic books?
When I was very, very young, it was comic strips. I loved like Snoopy and Garfield and Dick Tracy. I was a big fan of those. And I think I imagined the storytelling to be bigger than it was, because, when you get older and you see what they want tiny little panels, and not like really detailed drawings like I imagined in my head for like how Prince Valiant was or something. So I really loved that kind of stuff growing up. And I was really influenced by a guest you had on recently. He worked on Dragon's Lair. I really loved Dragon's Lair when I was a little kid. There was something about,
John Celestri.
I love that. I love that game a lot. I always draw him. So one of the earliest memories I remember drawing him, the hero Dirk, and then Snoopy and Garfield. I could replicate things but do my own little weird things. And if I got a tablet as a kid for like Christmas, people would buy me this giant tablet of newsprint, and they'd be like, it would last like 5 minutes. So the gift was over within it, because I would just tear through it. And but I always did my little comics. I really loved Mad Magazine too. As I got, a couple of years on, I loved Mad. I loved Mort Drucker, and I loved Angelo Torres and Sam, just all those artists of Mad and Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, very cool. Now, what inspired, now growing up, were you always drawn to like paranormal type characters, horror stuff? I mean, what brought you into kind of the genre that you're doing now with your stories?
Yeah, I was always drawn to like creepy stuff. I loved, like, even with Disney, we would have the skeleton dance animation. I loved Sleepy Hollow big time. And I never realized it, but yeah, I always loved. I used to. One thing that influenced Terranormal was that when I was a little kid, I would sit and just watch USA Network, and USA Network was different back in the day. So Saturday, you'd have Saturday night. Well, Friday night would start with Rhonda Shear, Up All Night. So, a young boy would love Rhonda Shear, seeing her as a wonderful host. And then Saturdays would be USA Saturday Nightmares. And the intro is one of the creepiest things ever. It's on YouTube. And I put a link on my Kickstarter to it. It's one of the creepiest intros. And they play little creepy short films, too. And then on Sunday was a show called Commander USA's Groovy Movies. And he was like, you know what he looked like? It looked like Clark Gable, but he was like a retired superhero who worked at a shopping mall.
Yeah.
And this guy is he was so charismatic and so funny. And, thinking later on, because I always think about him, that he reminds me of the comedian from Watchmen, you know, but if the comedian was a nice guy, you know, so
Yeah.
they look very similar. And that's a big influence on, you know, how I became. I was recently rewatched it because we're doing the Kickstarter and stuff, and I wanted to look up clips and to link. And he actually, a lot of the characters have like punny names, you know, like they're all puns on his show. And I'm like, oh, it's Paranormal, so it's probably a big influence on why I think puns are great and why I think weird names are like the perfect way to go for fictional characters. So, you know, that stuff, I was always drawn to that, and horror movies. I always loved horror. I think to me it's escapism, you know, because a lot of bad stuff happens in life, and you have serious stuff, and the movies don't seem so bad, you know. In a way, it's better than real life horror.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always loved like Lost Boys. I love that there's horror with funny. See, I always thought Freddy Krueger was funny. So that's really what this series, the webcomic series, is about, having fun with the creepy stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool. Now I had my first, so I've known of Howie's work for quite some time. You'd have to say back till 2009 was probably the first time I saw some of his work. So I figured, well, what would be anything better than, why don't I dig through some of my paranormal books and magazines, and lo and behold, I pulled a couple issues of my Taps Para magazine where I first discovered Howie's work. And you know, I always loved seeing your little cartoon strips in here. I mean, they were pretty much basically just a page, you know, but it was always cool to see, you know, Jason and the guys, you know, drawn as caricatures in the you know, the magazine. I mean, that is what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
You do amazing caricature art. I mean, for
Thank
those
you.
that know the show, I mean, let me see if I can get that in there. I mean, that's Jason right there to a T. I mean, that's Obama to a T. I mean, you're not, you know, you're not fooling anyone with that. And I mean, this is great. I mean, check that out
Thank
right here. I mean, look at these. I mean, this is
Shadow Man getting a tattoo, which is hard to do,
Yeah.
you know.
This
It's
is
hard
from 2011, February 2011, Taps Paramag. So, you know, so you have a connection there, right? So you've got, you know, Paranormal. You had your work discovered by the most famous, you know, ghost hunting reality TV star. You know, your work has been in his magazines. I mean, tell us how that journey began.
Sure, yeah. I've had paranormal experiences growing up. I believe my house had something going on, and I was always interested in that field, you know.
Billy.
And I didn't
He's like,
know.
what?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
will get to those.
We'll get to some cool ghost stories since it's October, and but I always, you know, I didn't know that there were like actual ghost hunters. I didn't know this was a thing, you know. And their show, when I saw Jason and the guys guys and ladies on the show, it like blew my mind that there was actually a way to go about. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever, that they go and actually look for ghosts, but at the same time they're trying to debunk it, because you know, I mean, a lot of them you're not going to find something, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they really do help people, because people are like, if you think something's in your home, it's a disturbing thing, you know.
Yeah.
If you think something you can't see is coming after you, and a lot of times it's electromagnetic fields, EMFs, they cause you to be uneasy, you know, and they can cause anxiety, so that's going to make you think, and paranoid, you're going to think something's there, or it's like pipes, or, you know, stuff like that. So I really love that they approached it like that, to debunk and disprove. But if something happened, they're like, oh, well, let's look at this. I really love that. That was the first of those kind of shows, and it was the best to me. So I drew like a Mad Magazine kind of picture of all of them, and because I loved the show, and we'd watch it. Me and my wife, and we'd get together with our neighbors and watch it. And I was like, I'll do this, and we'll see. You know, it's funny, you know, and I put Slimer in there and a bunch of in jokes about them, and sent it off to Jay. And this was back on MySpace, when MySpace existed, and he responded, and he loved it, you know, and he really, really liked it. And we hit it off, and then I got invited to be at one of their ghost hunting events that they were going to do. And here's the thing that maybe people don't know: they do a charity at every one of these events, and they were helping a young boy named Charles. He was battling cancer. He's since passed away, unfortunately, but he was battling cancer as a young boy. And I made movie poster-sized prints of that art, and they raised over $1,000, maybe a couple $1,000 for the charity. And I kept doing that. And I said, man, these are people that I want to be around, that they'll do that. Yeah. That was the main focus of that event, not them and meeting them and signing off. It was about this kid and helping him because they met him.
Yeah.
And the fact that I could help, because I've always been into that, like doing charitable causes, and my art could actually do something, and somebody would want it, because nobody knew me at that point, and it was just awesome. Jason's really cool, and we've become best friends since, and that it's just one of those things. One in a million kind of things that'll happen. But I really, the community of paranormal and I do a lot of the conventions. Really, I feel at home there, and I really love doing them because I can talk to anybody at those shows and learn something, So, and I like to implement, no matter how weird the comics get, there's like truth in it. So, nowadays there's a lot of ghost comics, and there's not like research necessarily put in, because they're like ghost stories, but I like to have that part of that show, the part of that world, the things I learn, I like to put them in the books, so you can learn a little bit with it, and then have extraordinary things that knowledge can't help.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. So where has this gone? Have you you did the magazine, were you able to do any other stuff with any other magazines?
Yeah, I did. There was another magazine I did an illustration, and then I mostly do like marketing and agency work. If I do illustration stuff, not too many magazines. But I do, because I do a lot of digital marketing. So I've done stuff for T-Mobile. I just did something for T-Mobile this week.
Yeah. And
then I do like Medicare, Medicaid, a lot of the stuff like that, storyboard work, and a lot of companies like that. It's mostly what I do, and then private commissions and everything.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Now, with Terranormal, is there any other comic series that you've worked on?
Yes. My first comic series was called Mr. Scoodles, and it's a book about a 1930s cartoon character who finds himself trapped in hell, and he's got to get out. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was based on my time at Pratt.
Oh, nice.
So it deals with 2 levels of hell, and Mr. Scoodles basically becomes real and awake when 2 art school students watch the last film reel starring him. So it's kind of like how magical animation can be, and that if you believe in a character, it can become real, and it's a cool mystery. Really, really weird. It got in Wizard magazine when that existed. It was one of the top indie comics to know about for a couple years there. So it'd be like Scott Pilgrim, and then down on the list would be Mr. Scoodles. And I still to this day have people come up to me at shows going, "Oh, that's from Wizard," and I'm like, "What? That's a hell of a magazine. That's like a hell of a thing that it still calls people back." So that was my first book. That was a big. I worked on that from 2000 to collecting it in 2008. So I like to spend a long time on these projects, and we're looking at 10 years of Terranormal this year, which is why we're doing this. Yep, there's the cover.
There it is, Mr. Scoodles. Just did a quick search for it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right up. Look how epic that is.
That is. That's cool. Anyone get this? Alterna Comics?
Yep. It was one of the early books published by them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Peter Samedi's a good friend of ours.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And then I did, after that, I did Vincent the Painter of Death, which is a self-contained comic. That's about an artist who makes his victims into art. Like he's like kind of serial killer monster guy, and he paints with blood and stuff. So it's like a self-contained kind of Twilight Zone comic. And then I started Terranormal, and I have this webcomic collection, which we're trying to get made, and then 2 graphic novels, which were both successful on Kickstarter, and a young adult novel. And then I did Float, which is a graphic memoir about anxiety.
Yeah, tell us about Float.
That's a beautiful
Tell us about
cover.
Float.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Billy.
That is a beautiful cover.
Thank you. Float is it's unlike any book I've seen. That's what I wanted. The goal was to do things that I could do with sequential art that I know, and stretch the boundaries of it, and really play with panels, play with art styles. Features a lot of different art. It tells the story about how I was born with generalized anxiety disorder, but I didn't know it at first. So it shows what it's like to learn about that and how it can affect your life. It hurts relationships, it pushes people away. And anxiety is portrayed as a character in it. I saw a lot of art that deals with mental health, kind of makes anxiety like a scribble, or like dark cloud and stuff. And I was like, I wouldn't be influenced by a scribble, and I wouldn't be influenced and tricked by a dark cloud. But if I made my anxiety, if I showed him to be like a charismatic rock star who wants to party and wants you all to himself, that I figure would show what it's really like, because that's the voice I listen to. That's the voice that has screwed me endlessly. It's the voice that seems so right at the moment. And people say trust your gut, and I can't trust my gut instinct a lot of the times, because your thoughts betray you, and that's what the book's about. The book shows, as a child, there was promise, and then this thing has grabbed it and torn it apart, but it still has a message of hope, because that's what I want. And it's a cycle, so the book will lead you through that. Anxiety is a cycle, so you keep going. You can have a breakdown. It's okay. You keep going back up, and that's really the message of the book. Everything in there is purposely chosen, from the length to the bright colors to how it looks. It's all chosen for people to read with anxiety, because it affects your attention span, like I was given like a 500-page book on anxiety and by a friend, and I was like, I can't read this. Like, I have anxiety. I don't want to read about anxiety, and it's just so I wanted something where it's about anxiety, but it's comfortable when you hold it, and it's comforting when you read it, but it's so truthful. That it really came across. It really affected a lot of people, and I get messages from people saying they got help because of it, because I talked about it. And that's my main push, is to always keep pushing that book and keep trying to find a way to get more eyes on it to help others. Yeah.
How can people get a copy of this book?
Right now only at my website, which is hcnoel.com. At my shop, I have them, and I sign every copy for you. We also have a soundtrack with that.
Very cool. So they can go to your website, head into the store.
Yeah, look at that classy carpet.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like that.
There's a little float. You just click on that float section, and it should bring you to everything float. There perfect. You go.
It sounds like a great movie.
Oh, you have a soundtrack for Float.
Steve Carell or someone, a really, a really, not good character actor playing something like that, and you don't see enough of that, really.
No, it could, and the cool thing would be, it would be like part animation too.
Definitely.
You would want the film to be like the book, where different art styles. I would love that, because really you reach more people with that nowadays. It's just the way it is, people would watch it. But I would love that. I would love that if it would get an adaptation.
You have a soundtrack for this. Does this play with the book? How does this work?
Yeah, you can slightly line them up, almost about as good as you can line up Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz. But my friend, it does go along with it, and it follows the same themes. My friend Victor Guest did that, and he did it all. By himself. It's amazing. It's actually like a Broadway show that accompanies the book. So it's a full-on show. Yeah. And so I would just tell him, as I was creating this, we collaborated. I would, tell him stuff I couldn't fit in the book, I was scared to, he put in the music. So there's like some, you know, stuff that I was like, because I was pretty truthful, and the music gets even more truthful somehow, and it's really amazing to see how he interpreted the theme, and I wanted like a full-on art project for that. I love trying new things and stuff, you know, because I listen to music while I work, so why not provide that for the reader to check out?
Oh, very cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, guys, head over to the website. The website is in our description for the show. So if you want to head over there, you know, after the show, during the show, check out what he has going on. But, you know, I really want to get into some good paranormal talk with you. But let's jump into what you have going on currently, which is the Terranormal, the complete webcomic series, which you currently have now on Kickstarter.
Yes.
As we are at, let's just refresh this real quick, see if we make sure we're fully up to date where you're at. So yeah, you have $6,002, 106 backers. You have 21 days to go. I'd love, if you don't mind, I'm going to play the video for our viewers so they can get a better grasp of what your campaign's for.
Great.
Welcome to the Kickstarter for Terranormal, the complete webcomic series. I'm Howie Knoll, creator, writer, and artist. Terranormal is a paranormal detective who solves supernatural mysteries with the help of her potato chip loving, interdimensional traveling best friend, Shadow Man. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the Terranormal webcomic, and to celebrate, we've collected the complete series into a giant full-color book. This book includes 5 of the most thrilling cases of Tara's investigative career. From creepy talking dolls to adorable zombie dogs, Tara bravely battles every bizarre challenge that comes her way. Inspired by all the spooky movies I watched growing up in the 1980s on Up All Night with Rhonda Shear, Commander USA's Groovy Movies, and USA's Saturday Nightmares, Terranormal features creepy stories, but told with tons of humor and colorful art. If we reach our goal, and the stretch goals beyond that, this Kickstarter exclusive edition can become even bigger. I've set up stretch goals that can transform this book into a 200-page compendium, boasting a huge special features section that includes the never-before reprinted Terranormal comic strips from Taps Para magazine, the official publication of the show Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi. In these humorous comic strips, Tara ghost hunts with paranormal reality stars such as Jason and Grant, Steve and Tango, and Amy and Adam. In the spirit of Terranormal, anything can happen in this comic. And I promise you, if I thought of it, I just put it right in the book. That's why Tara encounters such fun characters as Baby Cthulhu, Painbow Fright, a Frankenstein lawyer, a cemetery filled with zombie versions of 80 celebrities, and a 70-foot-tall Teddy Roosevelt who carries a trident and lives beneath the Baltimore Harbor. The webcomics are a unique part of Tara's stories. There's way more humor in these than any of her other adventures. For example, Shadow Man time travels to the 80s to fight John Cusack for a boombox. Spoiler alert, John Cusack loses. We have a ton of unique rewards and experiences available only here, including a Jason Hawes autograph reward level, the first ever Terranormal necklace, it's so shiny, Terranormal shirts, more shirts, and much, much more. Through the past 3 successful Kickstarter campaigns, you've helped me continue creating and drawing original, independent comic books. I couldn't create my books and have copies to sell at shows to new readers just like you without your help here on Kickstarter. And thank you for celebrating 10 years of Terranormal with me.
Howie, that is awesome. That was such a great video.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. My wife, Shelly, put that together. She always does all the videos.
So this is your 4th Kickstarter?
Yes. My 4th one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you now, what do you find to be the hardest part of getting a Kickstarter together?
I think it's getting the rewards right. You know, that's an ongoing process. I feel like every time you start from the ground up, you know, I look at what other people, because I do one every other year, and the things change so much. Like this Kickstarter, when I went on, I was like, oh my God, it feels like a different site. And I wasn't sure I was going to do a campaign, but it's the 10th year anniversary, and I really wanted to. And this, this was perfect, and I had finished drawing it. But yeah, when I went back on, I was like, man, this feels like it's kind of like when you go back to your old hometown and things change.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, do I still know this? I was very, very worried and just a bit stressed out. And then as I made those reward images, I felt more comfortable and proud of this project. And of course, when you see the video that Shelley made, I felt, oh yeah, okay. That's the way it always is. There's a lot of self-doubt, and then there's like, okay, we're doing this. Because I'm doing the Kickstarter no matter what, but I kept looking for ways to kind of back out this time. I don't know why. I was just very worried. It's just, it's the gambling part, I think. It's the all or nothing, and it feels like starting from scratch, even though I have the other campaigns. It's like I added those digital rewards that we have, like bigger ones and better, because I saw how popular digital rewards on other ones. And that's what Kickstarter tells you to do. Look at other campaigns and use that info, and I changed it after the first week or so. I updated the image, I updated rewards, and I will do the same, next week. Towards the weekend, I'm going to add new stuff, keep it fresh. And I got to just stress to people that they can keep doing add-ons, because I don't know if people understand that. I find myself, as you get new readers and new fans, that they're new to Kickstarter. Like a lot of my readers haven't done a Kickstarter before, and this is their first. I find that a lot. Like even when I do caricatures at parties, I'm a lot of times their first caricature, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's the same thing. So you gotta kind of explain what Kickstarter is, and at the same time get your book, explained to them too. It's like you're selling two things.
Right. Yeah. Did you ever run into the old, oh well, you're funded, so I don't have to pledge?
Yeah, I gotta express to people that we gotta keep going, because you never know. You never know. This doesn't mean, and I'm like, especially with this book, I wanted the stretch goals. I gotta make it clear that if we hit 10,000, the big one, this book gets 50 more pages. I mean, that's a huge amount.
Oh, yeah.
At 10,000, I will add all those Taps Para Magazine comics that you discussed. They're all going in here, along with the first ever Terra comic that I pitched to companies that nobody's seen. The first sketch, just a ton of extra content. And that's only if we hit that bigger goal. So I just want to make that clear, so it's not over, because I'd really like everybody to have that bigger version of this. And at 9,000, we have a whole new comic. Like I want to do the evil. My favorite new character is Evil Terranormal, which is just an evil version of the Star. But I really like her. She's sitting there on her throne.
Our background here.
Yeah, I really dig her, and I want to do I mean, she took over the profile picture for the page after the first week. I was like, let's see what she can do. And then she added, in my idea, I have a storyline where she added all those digital rewards late in the night, kind of like Santa or something, because they have her orange background. So I'd love to do that comic. If we hit 9,000, you get a free comic, with Evil Terranormal, issue number 1.
That's awesome. Now, how many pages? You said, so in the video, you're up to, will be 200 pages if you get everything?
If we hit 10,000. Yeah. Wow. Right now it's 152. 152, it's all straight story. The next 50 will be like a celebration of Terranormal, where you're going to get any guest web comics Tara ever did. She did one, and then all the Taps comics. It's just a ton of content is in that next 50. So hopefully, the push keeps going and we can make that. I would love to make that happen.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Let's say, guys, if we can, let's push for that. Let's see if we can help spread the word. Spread the word, share it, Instagram, Facebook.
Positive.
Oh, he's a positive guy.
I love the idea too of the evil Terranormal, and blondes have more fun, and she looks like she's about to have a lot of fun too. I mean, it is fun to have that little, one there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's
exactly.
she's relishing her time. She's not like the other Tara cares about lives and cares about doing what's good and helping people, and evil Tara does not. Evil Tara, I want to explore why she's like that too, and that's what the comic would do. I have an idea of just showing her how her life is the same as Tara's, but opposite, because we're in a different dimension, and because her world is awful, but she loves it. Like, you can see she's skulls on pikes, and and she really doesn't like a lot of things, and that's what I want to explore. It's a fun character. It's fun to see her, Tara turn bad.
So I have to ask, where? Oh, go ahead.
Now,
Billy,
tell us about Tara.
Sure.
Tell us about Tara Normal.
Yeah, Tara Normal is a paranormal investigator. She's in college, and we see her. She's bored by school when we first see her. Her mother's recently passed away, her adopted mother, and it kind of compels her to find out more about the mysteries growing up. She always felt different. She remembers her birth family, and we get to see them in the beginning of the book. They were UFO hunters, and the mother actually is alien in origin. The aliens come back for her. She wasn't supposed to go breeding while she was visiting Earth, and she fell in love, and they have a child, so the aliens want that child, and Tara's birth father is a very good dad and saves the kid, puts her out the window, and tells her to go to the neighbors, and then you see a UFO overhead, and she never saw her parents again. So she's compelled to, find out what's out there, that this stuff is real, because she knows it's real, and she wants to expose it. And of course, there's some shifty government agents that don't like that. They don't want the truth exposed. And Tara's all about pushing the boundaries. And let's just face it, by, I believe, story 3, when a giant 70-foot Teddy Roosevelt comes out of the Baltimore Harbor carrying a trident and eating people, you can't cover that up.
You can't.
So that's where things go off the grid, a lot of the time. So that's what happens in the webcomic. I would just think of insane circumstances, or if I want to draw John Cusack getting kicked in the balls, it happens. So that's what we do.
So where and Niall, forgive me, because I just love this stuff. You know that, and I know you do. Where did this come from? Where did this idea for Tara come from?
While I was working on Scoodles, I wanted to do a book with a female hero, and also I always loved Scooby-Doo and X-Files, and my wife's a big fan of X-Files, and I wanted to do something that would be along those lines where it'd be fun to read. I always wanted to do something that I think is fun to read, and tell a story that I think is fun. So plus I always love those crazy B movies, those 80 movies. I love Ghoulies 2 specifically. That the second one is my favorite. So stuff like that, and I wanted to do something that deals with straight up the genre of paranormal and horror. Because Mr. Scoodles is, I don't even know what genre that is. It's like Roger Rabbit meets Dante's Inferno. So I wanted to do something that was easier for me to pitch, to people at shows and stuff and explain. I wanted to play with genre, and I wanted a female hero that was strong, just like really cool, because the girls in the horror movies are always cool and strong, like Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. I wanted something like that, and Ripley from Alien, and Scully from X-Files I always liked. And then I love the actress Christina Ricci, and she's a huge influence on the look of Tara, and I luckily got to meet her not too long ago at a convention and give her all the Tara books.
Oh, did you tell
that was really cool.
She inspired you and everything like that?
Yeah, I did. So I handed her 10 years worth of books, and she was really sweet about it, because that's a lot, like, oh, you're a superhero. So it was she was like really, really nice, and it was like awesome because I did little caricatures inside the book for her, and I just realized I was just drawing Tara again, because that's how I draw her. So it was pretty funny. So that was what inspired, that character, and I wanted her to like have superhero leanings. So she's got the Franken-Kitty as her superhero logo, and she always wears like her costume is the pink shirt and the purple jacket with a bunch of gadgets and stuff in it.
Not
It's a great shirt too. That Frank and Kitty shirt.
it's a
That-
cool
Oh,
design.
thank you.
A very cool
Thank
design.
you.
Now,
Thank
how are you the sole writer to this? Are you you're doing the pencils, the writing, the pencils, the inking, the coloring? Do you solely do this all on your own?
Yeah, I do it all, and then my wife helps put it all together when it's done, like
Mhm.
in the format, and helps with the printing and getting that stuff ready and paperweight and stuff. But I do, all the writing, all the drawing, all the coloring, and all the lettering. Yeah.
A 70-foot Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
How
yeah.
did that come to be?
Yeah, I'd be one of the few people cheering that on because I think that
Right?
this world needs a 70-foot Theodore Roosevelt today.
It does. It does. It's even
Doesn't it?
better than a Batman.
Yeah.
Well, he
Less the
I
eating
always liked-
humans part.
Yeah. I love Teddy Roosevelt. And there was something about, because when you're in the Baltimore area, if you go to D.C., you see the Nationals mascot. They have the presidents,
Mhm.
and they've got these giant heads, right?
Yeah.
And there's something strange about the Teddy Roosevelt when he comes at you. He's got glasses, and I was like, man, that's a giant Teddy Roosevelt head. And I thought, what if the whole thing was that big? And what if he was even bigger? And what if he happened to eat people? And what if he came out of the water? What if he came out of the water and ate people and carried a trident? Because Teddy Roosevelt carries a stick, right?
Carried a
but
big stick. Yeah.
that is a big stick. It's just a trident. I don't know. He's like a god of the under the water now. I think he killed Poseidon or something. There's something going on there.
Of course he did.
Yeah, but he's no longer trying to get elected as he's eating his constituents. so he can't be contained. So you gotta stop him. I mean, I would be terrified if I saw a giant Teddy Roosevelt. The man fought bears with his bare hands. So imagine if he was huge.
Yes.
Incredible. And you've got some great characters in these stories, man.
Signs
Really
are great.
imaginative, going back
Thank
in
you.
time to steal for a boombox that you're talking in the video. I mean, that's just awesome stuff to come up with, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, the only way to stop a Cthulhu is with a boombox, and I don't know if anybody knows that, but that's true. I mean, I've read a lot.
Yeah.
I've read a lot on Lovecraft, and I don't know if anybody saw that story, but it is a boombox, and all boomboxes come with an exorcism button, and that's a true story. And they didn't have one like easy to get, but luckily Shadow Man is a interdimensional traveler. He can go to any dimension, and he went back to the world of the 80s to he knew everybody knows John Cusack has one, and say anything. Easiest way to go get it is go get it, kick him in the balls, take it, go save the world again.
There you go.
That's
Stop by the
awesome.
gas and sit on the way.
Yeah, it's would you rather the world end, or would you rather John Cusack gets kicked in the balls? He'll get over it.
Yeah, he'll
It's
get
fine.
over it.
Of
He
course
can
you
get
do.
he can get another boombox. There's a
He
radio.
can. It's
There's
just-
a Radio Shack around the corner.
Yeah, it's a movie prop.
Yeah,
It's fine. They'll get him a new one, and his balls will heal.
yeah. If he has them.
You know,
balls. Every guy's got them.
everybody's been kicked in the balls before. At least he when he got kicked, the world got saved.
So I made an observation of this lovely pattern. The one on your
Yes.
website, the one on your sweater, the one in the video. How does this pattern come to be? Is this your look? Is this your pattern? Your
that's-
sweater?
Well, that's from The Shining. My favorite movie is The Shining, and that's the carpet. That's the
Oh.
carpet from the hotel, the Overlook. So
Did you catch on to that? Of course, Frank Amazing did. That's why he's Frank Amazing.
Frank
Amazing.
Amazing. That was from The Shining.
He's giggling
Yeah.
over here because he knew.
Yeah, it's the carpet from The Shining, and as I've gotten, I don't know, I just feel comfortable with it around me, and we are adding stuff to the house in my little room with more Shining. Now that I don't know what it is, I guess because of the anniversary, and they just came out with it on HD. They're now releasing Shining merch. There was never any Shining merchandise because it's about a dad who goes insane and tries to kill his family.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now they're like making Funko Pops, and like I'm like, this is heaven. This is heaven. Because I would watch that movie with my dad, and and that was like a normal movie for us to watch. I don't get the horror thing. Well, I was just a fun movie I'd watch with my dad, and my dad kind of looks like Jack from that movie.
Oh, that's
So Yeah. So I was like, I love Jack, and I love that movie. Like, I'll watch it anytime. So I don't. Some people are really freaked out by it, but so we have I try to wore it in the video, and I added it to my site because that blog. Okay, blogs used to be simple. Websites used to be simpler, and now they got these themes now and stuff. So if I put an image in the blog or for like the store, I was like trying to make an image that would look good there, and then it's got the words, and you can't control how the words look against the background. And I was like, I'm just going to put the shining carpet there because that's so damn classy. And look at that. When you go to the shop, you're like, this feels like a classy establishment because it's got the murder rug in it.
Yeah.
Got the murder carpet. And I just feel like it adds a little classiness and also alludes to madness that can happen at any moment when you're trying to make a book. So
it's just,
that's crazy.
Just wonderful.
I just happened to click on something on your website. Now, I'm gonna just bring this up. So, because I know one of the creators, the illustrator of this piece here. So you did the coloring on this. It was pretty much. This was like a tribute to Stan, right?
Yeah, it was the obituary to Stan Lee. That's one of the proudest things I've done. George Gustines is the editor. Great guy, really great guy, and. They were doing it before he passed, right? We didn't know he'd passed away, and we didn't want this thing to be released for years, obviously, and unfortunately it happened pretty quickly after we were done. But Bill Walko drew it, and Brian Michael Bendis wrote it, and then Brian Michael Bendis reprinted it, and like I believe four of his creator-owned things published by DC, which is like, I mean, what an honor. It was really an honor, and it was really tough to just do because you're excited to do it, right? I was excited, but also the fact that it's an obituary, I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to collaborate, and just there was a lot of stuff to do, like that one image where it's like the spinner rack that took forever, but I did as your nature is to just maybe put one color on those comics, you know? And I was like, can't do that for this. So I looked up each cover. Each cover is real, based on a real one. And Bill made sure they were they were from the time. And I just went all throughout with those details, and especially the spinner rack. Well, I just wanted to make it perfect for what it was. And it was a big honor to do that, and a lot of people, it was overwhelmingly positive. I mean, everything, even on the Twitter, I saw all positive.
Yeah.
How rare is that on Twitter to get fully positive feedback?
Yeah, exactly. How do you work? Do you work digitally? Do you work traditionally?
I work a lot of my books are traditional. So one of the rewards we have with the Terranormal webcomic is you get an actual page. You can get actual comic art. I work small. I don't work giant. And with the characters, I do them live, right in front of people with marker. With the comics, I do use an iPad now for like work. Illustration works so much easier with the iPad because the level of changes people want, and like that, if I had to go do that kind of stuff, it would be frustrating. Yeah. Now I'm not frustrated dealing with clients. I'm like, oh, that's great. Let's do this version. You can have as many versions you want. It's okay, because they're all digital. We can keep going back, and they can select pieces they like of one and just add it to the other, and it's not frustrating. I do like Float is traditional and digital, so I like to combine both. Coloring's all digital in Photoshop. I color in Photoshop, and then. But I also do use iPad and Procreate to draw in now with illustrations and certain stuff. It's just quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I find it very quicker, and also I can change things and move stuff around. So it just depends on what I feel like the project will be at. But if you ordered a caricature from me, if it's full color, I'll do it digitally, just because if you have changes, and it's going to be colored digitally anyway. Mm-hmm. And if you get black and white, you get a hand-drawn black and white one.
Well, you are fantastic. You really are.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Very talented.
It means a lot to me. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
So let's have a little fun. let's talk
All right.
paranormal. So what are your, so I've been, I was an avid ghost hunter myself, going around here in Connecticut, and still have my equipment. And, did you get into the actual hunts, going out and doing the real ghost hunting?
Absolutely. And we actually we do a paranormal ghost hunt once every year. So maybe you can cool. Come with us on the next one. We pick a place, and there's usually about 15 to 20 of us, and you can go investigate on your own. You can hang around us, and every time we get activity, we're just been very, very lucky where it is always an adventure. I've been on several investigations. One, we've done Pennhurst, the asylum. I've done Fort Mifflin, which is near Philadelphia, which I'm leaning towards being the next paranormal ghost hunt. We have a reward level to come ghost hunt with me. So you get 2 tickets, and you'll get the book and all the other stuff, and you can actually come with me with one of these places on our next event. I had something following me in Fort Mifflin. I can get into that. And been to the Stanley Hotel, which is The Shining is based on. I've been in the famous 217 and heard a whistling in the middle of the room when there was a group of us. No blood flowing down the walls, and no, nothing like, oh, horrible. But I mean, a whistle in the middle of the room when nothing's there whistling, that would make you leave, because Jim Carrey, filmed Dumb and Dumber there and got the hell out when something happened around 3 a.m. He wouldn't stay there.
Did he stay in that particular room?
Yes. Somebody had the bright idea to stick him in the Stephen King room, which is 217. Yeah. That's, like your the drawers will open up, and stuff like that. We got a lot of activity there at the Stanley, and actually in one of the near buildings, like the music hall. Crazy stuff, crazy lights going off to the beat of the music, almost singing along if you use a K2 meter, which measures electromagnetic fields. This thing was singing along with the beat of the music, and that's not normal. Not normal for music to make electromagnetic fields light up. We also did Mount Washington Hotel. Great. I got crazy EVPs, which if you watch the ghost hunting shows, that's electronic voice phenomena where you can catch a voice on a recorder, but you don't hear it at the time. And I've heard yes and no to specific questions that I've asked. There's a princess at Mount Washington, they say, the ghost of a princess. And I have flirted with that ghost, in my opinion.
Oh, look at you.
Proudly flirted. Don't tell your wife.
Yeah, she was there. She was there to witness it. It's okay. I think the dead, it's okay. It's okay. But we've had a lot of fun, a lot of cool experiences. Luckily, I've seen a lot of cool stuff. I've never seen like shadow people, so I've never like seen something. But I've heard things. If one of our trips to Pennhurst, so that's an asylum, and that was one where there's some really bad stuff happening there, and that's one place I suggest everybody go to. Just being in there, taking the trip there, and seeing the buildings, there's just a level. I think when bad things happen, something gets left behind. I think there's something there. And they were pulling out people's teeth to punish them. And these were people that had mental problems, and that's not a way. A lot of cruelty. So when we were getting the tour during the day, it was thunder and lightning. And they say that kind of weather will accentuate paranormal activity. We're getting the tour. It's broad daylight, we're all being around. And in the middle of the tour down the hallway, it's just, there is nobody else there because this place, they only send like 2 people to escort us, and make sure we don't burn the place down. An unhuman like scream. Almost, I don't know what it was like, not human and chilling. And we all heard it. And it's during the day. And you're like, what's going to happen at night? Yeah, I've never heard it like that. I've never heard a sound like that. I've heard slamming and pounding. I've never heard like a scream. I was like, oh, So that, and then, as we continue the tour, right behind my ear, I heard a in my ear. And, and you're like, it's just there in the tour. And that was actually like some of the craziest stuff that happened there. And then down in the basement, there's bats. So there you go. That's a lot of ghost hunting. You'll get, the worst part is the bats. they come after you. So there's like that's one of my favorite places. And at Fort Mifflin, I was investigating. And do you know about the flashlight thing? How you can you take a Maglite flashlight and you twist it so much so that something that would touch it would turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask questions. And usually the flashlight will not go off if there's nothing there because nothing's going near it to turn it on. I could get any answer I wanted at Fort Mifflin with this flashlight. I would go towards it and it would turn darker and dimmer. I would go back and it would go brighter. At one point I said, "Are you messing with us? Ha ha ha." And I went like this and it blinked with the laughter. I had a very friend that was being skeptical. He's like, "I'm going to use my flashlight," and it would use it for a little bit and go right back to mine. And then at the end of the night, I said, "Why don't you make?" Everybody had their meters out and their flashlights. I said, "Why don't you give us a big show? Why don't you make everything turn on?" Because we're in a dark room, and I went like this, and all the lights went on, every one of them. And then I was like, oh, I was a little creeped out. I was very creeped out that the thing was sticking around. And it rolled the flashlight to me at one point in one of the rooms. Wow. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I said a prayer before I left there. I said, "You can stay here because I don't need a friend here, with me."
Yeah.
I never had anything happen, so nothing like that has been around. But I was just at Fort Mifflin this year again, and I was doing like my first speaking at a paranormal event, and I was just talking about the comic because it's 10 years. And we decided to do the flashlight while in the room. Why not? And it was going off there too. Question and answer. I mean, that place is extremely active. So I think that's what I'm leaning towards having an event at.
Oh, very cool. Now, you do an event once a year or just a paranormal themed event?
Yeah, it's a paranormal ghost hunt once a year. And then I do other ghosts, Yeah. I'll go wherever I can find a way in. But, usually if there's paranormal events, I get to go ghost hunt with them,
Yeah.
With my own, I host one a year. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
the last one was at I believe it's the Burlington Prison in New Jersey. And it was actually also my surprise birthday party. So we had cake and, 10 feet away was where they hung people. That was interesting.
A good way to celebrate.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
So did the ghosts hang around?
I didn't see them, but they hung around inside. I didn't see any hanging out. No, I didn't see any there, but there were some inside. The weird thing was we were asking question and answers, and the flashlight would answer, "Are you a child?" And it said, "Yeah." And then the ranger there confirmed there were children prisoners, man.
Really?
That's awful. Yeah.
That is
and I was
awful.
like, and it's just, when you learn history like that and then you can confirm it, the cool thing was there are people there that know the history and they can go back. Yes, there were children here because you're just like guessing.
Yeah.
Unless you have somebody there with fact. You always got to have facts, back it up, and you always got to remember, just try, I could feel cold spots there and stuff like that. You just want to try to, I keep a skeptical nature, but I want to believe in stuff, and what I've seen makes me believe there's more to the world. Yeah.
Now, do you attend so there's a lot of horror conventions and things like that. Do you attend a lot of those conventions as well?
Yeah, I've done. I mostly do the paranormal shows.
Yeah. There's
just this great feeling, but I haven't worked a horror show, but I go to them. Go to them for fun. That's where that's like the one kind of show I can go where I can relax and I don't have to work it. So I've kept them sacred in a way.
Now, what are the good paranormal shows? So there's paranormal conventions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of paranormal conventions, and a lot of times they're there to help the place. So I just did one at Pennhurst. This year I've done a lot. So I did Pennhurst. There's one called Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, which actually helps troops.
Yeah.
It helps wounded warriors, and it helps there's a lot of charities there, so I did that. I did the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo. That's right by me. That's really cool. That's got next year it'll have Jason, Steve, and Dave from Ghost Nation. They're all going to be there. That's a really cool show. And those people, when I met people there, it was for my first time doing it. The people that came there were so awesome. They'd buy all the books. They were like, "Oh, I just want all the books." And I'm
that's great.
Wow. And it was like multiple people. And that's really special to me, because, sometimes when you're doing a show and you're just begging for somebody to buy one, just the way it is, it depends on the show. and it's cool to know where I'm like accepted on, you know, because they just met me and they're like, I want all these. I like Paranormal. I like that, you know, and they know me from the magazine. So there's just a nature I have where I swim against the grain and what's good for me. So it's always good to come back to where you're actually appreciated instead of banging your head against the wall. Because I'm tired of it. But
that is the truth right there.
Yeah. And I just did an event just recently. I think it's my last event for the year, unless I get down to IsaacCon. What is it? What con? What's the Baltimore?
IsaacCon.
It's Saturday night of the Baltimore Comic Con.
There you go. If I get down there. But I just did Selma Mansion, which is a haunted location in Pennsylvania. And that was this house. I mean, I wish I wasn't able to ghost hunt because we had this Kickstarter starting and everything. But that was a creepy house. I mean, they had a doll room, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of doll rooms.
I'm not a fan of doll. I have 2 older sisters, and growing up, Chucky just didn't work with me, and the dolls in their rooms, that stuff just didn't work.
We had an awful neighbor, right? This neighbor was the thing of nightmares, and I'm going to turn him into something someday. I'm going to turn him into something. The wife had, not only she wore a terrible wig, which is creepy, right? When you're a little kid and this old woman has this brown wig, and you're like, it's unnatural. You know, it's like unnatural. And she had a doll room, and I'm like, man, I don't think it could be worse. I don't think you could be you're already a repellent person and you have this creepy doll room, and they had no kids. And
those were their kids.
Yeah, they probably
You go over and she's like feeding them in a high chair.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me of the Dolls movie. You ever see that old 80s movie where they are our children? I'm like, turning me into one. Nope.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're like real eyeballs.
I don't do dolls, my friend. No dolls. Dude. But so let me. I want to go to paranormal conventions, man. I want to go to those and I mean, what are the good shows to look for?
For paranormal, Para-Unity, Para-Unity Expo, Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. Oh, Feminology, which is in Gettysburg too. That's going to be a giant one. Is that what you meant? Like live?
Yeah. Like the paranormal conventions, you know, they're to go and go on the ghost hunts.
Yes. Feminology, because Gettysburg is like a haven for it, man, because so many people lost their lives. That place is, you feel it. Like, you could feel it in the air there, you know? And my personal experience there is so lame. I don't like to tell this story. It's so lame, but it's funny as hell, so I will.
All right.
You know how most people... I hear stories all the time. Like I said, I've never seen anything. I've only heard stuff and felt stuff, but I never seen it. And these people are like, I've seen a half ghost soldier, like, you know, on the field. He's like, you could see right through him. They say on Devil's Den, which is where these rocks are, I could see all the soldiers. And I'm like, I sat there for hours trying to see a soldier. Even to the point where your eyes cross and you're hoping you're seeing one, but nothing. So me and my friend are like kind of bummed out. We were trying to make it happen. We're walking on a gravel road, and you know when you hear a car coming up behind you on a road and you get off to the side? Well, that's what we did. We tapped each other. We gotta get off the road. There's a car coming up. We could hear the gravel. There's no car.
Whoa.
But that's lame, right? A ghost car? Come on.
Was it a car, or was it like a wagon? Were soldiers pushing a wagon?
Pushing a Ford station wagon is what it's about.
A Ford Escort.
I wish it was a horse. If it was a horse, I'd be like, that's awesome. I got a car, and I don't like to talk about it. I'm like, a car? Because we both got out of the way. We know exactly what a car sounds like.
Yeah.
No car.
Yeah. Well, so I had a former employee of mine. He went down to Gettysburg, and him and his wife just went. I mean, not for a particular event or anything. They just like went and stayed in a couple hotels and like bed and breakfast places that had activity, and they would just kind of go around and do their own thing. And it was during the day. His wife was just like, I had the urge to take a photo, and she took a photo on a spot. They sent it to me, right? And they're like, look. And it was like, let's see the photo. So it was probably like the top left of the photo, maybe towards the center a little. They're like, look, you can see like a shoulder. And then like you start, but then like as you're following it, all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, no, that goes down to an arm, and that's a button and this and that. And actually, once you figure out what you saw, it was a Union soldier.
Wow.
It was so cool, and you could see it. And like we were looking up, so like of course, he worked for me, so I was like, all right, yeah, stop what you're doing, come in my office, let's check this out. So we're online, and we're googling like the type of buttons and things, and we're like, holy shit. This is like legit, dude. What else did you get? And like, oh no, we still got to go through all this stuff. And you're right, it's like a honeypot down there. Like everything they had, like they had EVPs, they had more photos. I mean, I'm not huge into the orb stuff.
I don't buy in.
I don't really know into that. But I mean, hey, you never know, I guess, right? But they got a lot of orb stuff.
It's a lot of dust.
Yeah, but it's the images when you actually see someone. So then the last day there, they went to the same spot. Like, let's take some photos. So she's walking down the trail. She says she gets the same urge again. Takes a photo, sends it. They're like, look like a third up from the bottom. So you see like hips, right? Then all of a sudden you start making out the hips, and it's a dress. And it's obviously like period, like the type of dress they would wear then. But then like we're looking at it, and I'm like, but it's not like it was obviously someone more well-to-do. But it's really cool. I'd love to get down there. But Billy, man, that's what we got to do. We got to hit one of these paranormal conventions.
So, I love it down there. So that would be fun. We could take the and we can meet the Knowles.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love it. Come to Feminology or the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I mean, the Battlefield Bash is. Yeah, I'd love that, because then we take a drive there, and then because anywhere you go, you can just go to Devil's Den, man, and it's just there's a feeling there. I've been in a field where you feel things, and plus you get to you learn so much. That's why I love going to these, because just the investigators and the stuff they've seen, and now people it's more open now. Now that the shows have helped open the discussion. It's not so now you can be like, yeah, there's something in my house, man. And it's like, oh, what is that? And people are interested.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it's like more, you're not crazy if you've experienced this stuff. It's there. I mean, I've heard out there stories. So, you always like, just remember to keep a skepticism in there, and you'll be healthy, because some people don't want any skepticism at all. And I'm like, you have to have skepticism because I gotta experience stuff to understand. I gotta believe, and feel it. I like, you see some photos and you're like, because your eye, what happens with photos is your eye automatically wants to make a face out of it, and that's what I learned. So many photos people saying, but then when you see one that's like, holy shit, like you're describing, you're like, whoa, that's a soldier. That's really cool. When you see that one where you're like, I like that. And there's actually stuff really coming up on my friend, Jason, like we were talking about, they have a new show, Ghost Nation. And I've seen previews, and my God, some of the best evidence I've ever seen. And I'm not even joking. He showed me, and it's mind blowing. Oh, watch this season. I don't know which episode is going to come up, but my God, now the cameras are like HD. Because I remember the old show, they weren't like this super high def.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting there watching this new show, and I'm like, my God, you guys have like great cinematography, because that's what I was noticing. They have the lighting, and I'm like, look at this. And I don't know if anybody cared, but I was like, look at this cinematography. And like all the ghost footage.
And Grant has Ghost Hunters back.
Yes, Ghost Hunters is. So
are they both on Travel's channel now?
No, Ghost Hunters I believe is on A&E, and then Travel Channel has every other show. Which is the
Paranormal
crazy.
Network, really.
A lot of friends have shows on there. So you got Amy and Adam and Chip Coffee on Kindred Spirits, and my friend I just met this year. Katrina, who's from Paranormal State. She's got a show with Jack Osborne, Portals to Hell. She is one of the nicest people ever. She loves paranormal too, and I'm glad I finally got to meet her. Super awesome, and there's so many things. Like, I love it. They just make it a paranormal channel. I mean,
they should just make it a paranormal network, or even
it's halfway there.
It's halfway there, yeah. And she also had that other show prior to that with what's his name from Ghost Event?
Lockdown.
Paranormal Lockdown. That was cool.
Yes,
that was a cool show.
She is awesome.
Paranormal State, I wasn't really a huge fan of. Something always seemed a little off to me on that show. I don't know, maybe they just because they
maybe
went
the guy.
through.
Maybe they felt weird about the guy.
Maybe. I mean, the way they went through the investigations were really quick. And it was very like, to me, it was very like religion. Like there was a lot of religion-based stuff in it. You know?
I try to stay away from dark demonic stuff, except in books. You know, I'll play within the books. Yeah, with like the Terra Nova graphic novels deals with it. I'm fine with doing it fictionally, but like Exorcist still freaks me out to this day. I really don't like demon stuff, and some people really. I notice demons are the hot thing. Yeah. Like they name drop demons like every show. You know, like, well, as far as advertising, they want to say demons. I think executives like demons. You know, I think.
Yeah.
Well, because that's going to attract someone, right? Like, oh my God, they're battling a demon. So it's like, it's like that crusade, right? The you know, the knights in shining armor are here to take this demon out. You know, it's crazy. But I'll tell you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It can be real. Well, the cool thing, one funny story real quick is that when one of the first paranormal things, because they're like, demonologists are real and you get to meet them at the shows. And I actually met a cool one named Adam. I met him before and like we were having breakfast and I had a breakfast with a demonologist, which I want, you know, maybe my autobiography one day. Yeah. And we were just like, you know, we were having pancakes and talking about this stuff. And I said, so what do you think with the exorcism? What do you think a lot of it is, like schizophrenia that's misdiagnosed or something? And he said they allowed the devil into their soul. And I'm like, want another orange juice? You know, like what a conversation.
You want more bacon?
It's just real serious, and that is it. I mean, they are really trained in this. Oh, this is what they deal with, and I've had friends that have been on cases where they do need a priest to come in. Wow. I mean, that's not the kind of ghost hunting I get involved with. That's not the ghost hunt trip.
Was that guy on Beyond Reality Radio? Was he at the Adam?
I think he was. Yeah, yeah. He's been on a lot of stuff. I just met another demonologist at Gettysburg. That's just I can't even begin to enter. I mean, I get freaked out just thinking about Linda Blair. So.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't get into that. But it's funny, you know, you're talking about the new show with Jason, this crazy evidence you saw. Because the best piece I saw, and I don't remember the episode it was, like per se, like a number or season, but the one that always got me, they had an episode, and I remember the mother had died, and the girl thought she was seeing the mom or spirit in the house, and they show, like, when they moved the camera, it was like something from almost like a Japanese, like, horror movie, you know? And it was like, you saw, like, the pale white legs and almost like this white gown and just, like, the black hair. And they were like, I don't know if you even remember this episode, but it was the way they panned through. I remember they were going through the evidence, and they're like, oh, my God. And, like, you just see, like, the whole body go up, but it goes so fast. And when they come back, it's not there. But it was, like, the best thing I've ever seen on any of these shows.
Yeah. I wait for this season of Ghost Nation. You will be mind blown.
That's awesome.
Because the camera, it's not, I mean, I can't say what it is, but I just say it's the best thing I've ever seen.
I
will get killed if I spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I know what that's like now on movies. I will get killed if I spoil it. But I think teasing is allowed. So
yeah, you can say there's something good coming down the pike, and everyone needs to watch
It's Abraham Lincoln. Oh my God.
And he's 80 feet tall.
He's still alive.
With a broomstick.
Yep.
He's that.
Yeah.
He lives in the Hudson River.
There you go. So, man, Howie, this has been a great show. Man, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this. And we definitely got to talk more paranoid. I'd love to go on a ghost hunt with you. I need to.
Well, let's do it.
I just bust open the box.
We have 8 left.
Now we have to have. We're planning our Halloween show.
I know.
Awesome.
For that week, you know, for that week, we're planning a Halloween show, horror shows, and that, you know, your campaign will still be going, so that'll be cool. And we'd love to have you on if we can.
Absolutely. I love Halloween, obviously.
That Monday,
so, yeah.
Tuesday, maybe that Monday before or something like that. We'll figure that out, Niall, of course. But boy,
I actually have one more question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Because really, I want to talk like ghost hunting and paranormal stuff. That's not what our show is about. But I do have to ask. Out of all the, what's that?
Yeah. We're supposed to talk about his book.
I know.
Get him to go to the page too.
Yes. Go to Kickstarter, guys. Go, please.
Yes, you guys need to get over. We need to get to $10,000.
We want 10.
We need $10,000. Let's see. Let's just refresh. Let's see if we've got anything new here.
Hey, somebody donated.
Someone donated a couple bucks.
Thank you very much.
All right.
that
We're
link.
climbing. We're climbing, guys.
Yes. And myself, I'm gonna be. I'll jump on this one because I do love, like I said, you know, in the Taps Paramags where I first saw it, and I've seen the, you know, the web issues and whatnot. So I really hope you get to. I really hope you get to the 200 pages.
They're really fun. Yeah, those things are like comic strips, and you know, for the Ghost Hunters fans and for Ghost Nation, that's why I got Jason to do a autograph reward level, so he's gonna autograph art I've done of him, and I got him to do 10. Like, that's I was awesome. Pushing, and he's like 10. And I'm like, okay, because I always wanted to do that, you know. And so I got my 10. So I'm excited. We've sold 6 of those, I believe. I believe there's only 4 left. So grab one of those before they're gone, and I'll record him signing those if he lets me.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And you said so you have your level to go on a ghost hunt, correct?
Yeah. It's the Terranormal Ghost Hunt level. I believe it's 125, as there's.
Team
the
Terra
tickets,
Ghost Hunt.
2 for $50. Yeah, you got 2 tickets because we were like, why do 1 ticket? Nobody ever comes to these alone. You know, it's always somebody with a friend. You never have one guy who's like, hey, you know, you never have one person who's alone. So we've got the 2 tickets, and then you get the book too, and a bunch of other stuff. And I can guarantee this because we have fun at every one, and you can do, you know, go investigate on your own. It's not like other big events. It's a small group. And it's just, you can really enjoy yourself there. It's our ghost hunts are one of a kind, and they have the flavor of the brand, which is fun and also a little scary, but you know, and fun. And we have a fun time.
Yeah, no, that's something to think about, Frank Amazing. Thumbs up from Frank Amazing. But
Frank Amazing knows what's up.
He knows what's up. I have to ask one question. So you know a lot of people in that the realm of paranormal investigation, all that, and there's so many tools and different things that they use. Is there one piece of equipment that you're like, nah, it's bogus? They're using it, but it's like, nah, I think that's bogus.
Huh? That's a good question. I don't know if I'm trying to think. I won't say it's bogus. I've never understood it, and I have to have somebody talk to me about it. I don't understand. It's not bogus, so I'm not going to ask you the question, I guess, because somebody will come after me. But I don't understand the ghost box thing because nobody's explained it to me. Have you seen the ghost box where it talks? It kind of runs through radio. Yeah. It skips through, and sometimes it'll be like apple, and you're like, oh, it eats apples, you know.
Oh my god, I eat apples too.
Yeah. But sometimes there's like really hits something and it's disturbing. It's just never happened when I was there, you know, because I've only seen it a couple times. But I've seen really. So somebody just has explained to me, but it's like legit, and people have gotten like life-changing things. I just never have. But I'm not saying that's not. As far as non-legit, so that's just one that's a curiosity to me because I don't have one, and they're just interesting. I don't understand it.
Now, are you talking about the one that actually goes through the AM/FM radio waves and it's the static? Okay, because they have the one where it goes through a library and it will be like, it'll be like light.
Oh, that's a different thing? Yeah, I don't understand that one either. Yeah, where it's actually saying pre-prepared words.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. The ghost box actually is very creepy when you're sitting there in an abandoned place and it's going words, you know, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
I've just never been around where it's like a lot of people have had life-changing experiences with it. I just never have, and I'd like somebody. I know people that make them, so I really got to have a conversation about it because it's just curious to me. I don't understand it. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I never seen something where I'm like, meh, I don't believe. You know, as far as equipment.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as orbs is number one to me, where I don't believe it's a person floating around, a little guy. I mean, people will fight to death about orbs. I guess if there was actual light emitting out of it, you know, like it's a floating thing, I can understand that. A lot of things are dust, and then you're like, oh, it's a ghost. Because it can be a bug on a camera, you know?
Well, you know what's kind of interesting, and I don't know if I've told this story on the show, but I'm not a believer in orbs, but, you know, I say that, but then I think of, you know, my wife and I, when we first started dating, she had stayed over, she stayed over pretty much most of the time. And, you know, it was one night when we were laying in bed, and she was like, you know, and I had a roommate.
Sheriff father was happy about that one.
You know what's going down. No, we were watching reruns of Glee.
Talk.
We were watching
Glee.
That
awkward talk in the morning.
Right? Nah, we were much older. We were adults, and
they still don't like it.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. But she's like, your roommate's door is creeping me out. And I'm like, stop being a baby, stop being a baby. So I'm like, fine, I'll go close it. So I go, and I've never had anything happen in this house, right? So I go and I go close the door. And once the door latches, it's like someone either kicked the door as hard as they could or threw their shoulder in the door. Like they were pissed. I just shut the door and like the door rattled. And like a schoolgirl, I ran, jumped over like the bed. I don't know. I just like flew myself in the bed and I was like, what the fuck? What the heck was that? And, she was like, I told you. I was like, that was nothing. That was nothing. And that same night, it felt like someone was, we were just sitting there. We actually really were watching Glee. She had introduced me to the show. And I was like, this is kind of funny. And, then I felt like, I was like, stop tapping me. Because I thought someone was tapping my hand. So long story short, all of a sudden she wakes me up. She goes, there's a light in the hallway. And I look, and there's a light in the hallway. So, and my neighbor has a light. So I'm looking over in the window. I'm like, all right, the motion sensor's off there, the light's off. So then I'm like, let me look the other way. So I lied to her. I was like, oh, no, it's the neighbor's light over there. It's coming through the kitchen. And it's reflecting in the hallway. And she's like, oh, it doesn't seem like it. I was like, it is. Go back to sleep. And then I'm like looking. I'm like, there was a light, right? And it was a ball of light. So I go back to sleep. The next night, right, all of a sudden I wake up and the ball of light is at the foot of the bed. But then you're like talking about emanating light, and I'm like thinking like it didn't emanate light though. Like it was light in a ball, but it wasn't like lighting up the surrounding. And I remember I took, because I like to sleep with a body pillow, and all of a sudden I just took the thing and I literally like just slid it over my head, and I was like, this is not happening right now. I'm like, what is going on now? And because my apartment before this was really haunted. And then I was just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I kind of just like put the pillow back over my head. And I was like, and I remember doing this too, because I'm laying there and I pick it up and I'm just like, oh shoot, it's still there. and then I look again and it was gone. But it's funny, you're talking about orbs and this and that, and you just mentioned the light thing, and it just popped back in my head all of a sudden. I was like, just realized right now, it didn't give off a reflective light. You saw that it was a white light, but it didn't light anything up.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It was full of light, though.
It was full of light, yeah.
That's more of what I've seen that I believe is what people should be focusing on as far as orbs.
So you've seen something like that, too.
There's something going on there. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But rarely is that seen in what people are showing. I think a lot of people, you want to find something. You want to say you found something.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody, unless you're hurting people and you're like, there's a demon in your house and you're going to die. You should move or pay me to get rid of it. That's bad. See, that's bad. I don't like that. Bad. Yeah. But that sounds like you saw some legit creepy stuff.
It was.
I wouldn't be visiting there.
But anywho, so we're now approaching an hour and a half of babble here.
We're halfway to Avengers Endgame. Let's do it.
There you go. I'd love to get in. So one thing we do, Howie, is we pick another project, and at the end of the show, we call it a crowdfunding call out. And if you don't mind, I'd like to show what we have tonight. And Billy had brought this one to our attention, to me and Frank, amazing attention last night, and this is Merry Boys. So Billy, may I ask you, sir?
Yes, sir.
What grabbed you with this project here?
Oh my God, Catholic school, mutants, in London beating the crap out of child molesters and burning bakeries that sell all kinds of weird phallic stuff, and then helping kindly old ladies across the street. How can you not? And they were running around with cricket bats. It's just cool.
So let's check this out. So I actually waited. I wanted to see this for myself. So this is the first time I'm going to be watching this video, and I'm sure for you as well, Howie. So let's check out Merry Boys.
Hello, puppet people. This is Carl from Puppet Comics, and I want to tell you about my comic book called Merry Boys. I'll be launching a crowdfunding campaign for it on Indiegogo from the 1st of September this year. Mary Boys is basically about 4 little hoodlums with birth defects who go around, guided by the image of the Virgin Mary, kicking the proverbial poo out of bad guys to avoid a biblical apocalypse taking place in their hometown. They have a kind of superpower. Drinking beer actually makes them stronger and faster, but not funny or irresistible. They were also raised and taught to fight by this gnarly old priest who's basically a cross between Peter Steele of Type O Negative and Father Jack Hackett from the Father Ted Show. It's about other stuff too. I explain it all a lot better in the project description, so please have a look there. When you say the stuff out loud, it sounds sillier than it actually is. It's a black comedy, but it explores themes like social alienation, corporate greed, and family values. It's also a very British comic, so expect to find a good few cultural references and in-jokes there. This is for fans of comics like The Goon, Tank Girl, Cerebus, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and TV shows like The Young Ones and The League of Gentlemen. So here's the deal. I want to keep Mary Boys independent and free from editorial interference, and the best way to do this is to self-publish. With this Indiegogo, I aim to raise enough money to pay for the printing and shipping costs to bring you the first 2 issues of Mary Boys, containing the boys' origin story, introducing the major themes and characters prevalent in this ongoing series. For your support, you will receive a range of incentives, including print editions of the 2 comics and work from our already published catalogue. So that's my pitch, and if it sounds interesting, please go ahead and back it today. Thank you very much in advance for your support.
That is an interesting project, Billy.
And it says, yeah, it was on EBS's show, and I'm like, what? This is the craziest, ballsiest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's just like the politically incorrect, comic out there.
I love the fact that he kind of like explains the video, and then like 20 seconds in, he's like, well, I don't really feel like explaining this. You can just kind of like read it in the description, and it's much better than me trying to explain it. He doesn't really care. It's pretty cool actually.
It's just
very
ballsy,
British. Yeah, it's very ballsy. It's kind of like,
good attitude. Yeah. I'd like to embrace that sometime.
Hey, he's funded. He's funded.
Yeah.
Indeed. So
that's awesome.
Well, sir, this has been wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast and exceeded my expectations, which were already up here. So it's through the roof. And thank you so much, Niall and Billy.
Kind.
This was amazing. I really appreciate it. And
you are kind.
Yeah, and if you really are up for it, head down. I don't know how far of a drive it is for you, but if you want to hang out, for the now former Scotch Con and now the newly named Isaac Con.
Well, it always was Isaac Con.
Not to me.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. I didn't even know what to say to that. I'm like, blah. But anywho, yeah, man, that'd be awesome. And, you know, I'll be in touch. I'd love to go on a ghost hunt with you, or even check out a paranormal convention that you're at. It's always good to know a couple people, and I think that'd be really cool to go to.
Oh yeah, you both enjoy it a lot, and yeah, if you can do the ghost hunt, it'd be amazing. It's usually like I said, either Jersey or we're gonna go to Philly for Fort Mifflin. So it's gonna be one or the other. Either way, it's gonna be active, and it's extremely fun. And yeah, let's do one of the conventions. It'd be awesome. It's just cool to see what these people do, and their stories are amazing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, awesome, guys. So
to do a comic book convention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you do those too, right? You do comic book conventions, right?
I do comic conventions too. Not too many this year. I usually would do like New York Comic Con. I've done Baltimore in the past. When I lived down there, I did Baltimore a lot. I did SBX before, and Mocha. I did Mocha before too, like early on. I did Ape. Do you remember Ape?
Yeah.
Remember Ape? That was a cool show. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Alternative Expo.
Yeah. I went to. That's where I learned San Francisco can get cold. I didn't even know that. I didn't know these places could be cold. I was like, California, it's gonna be awesome, and it's like freezing.
Shorts and t-shirts. Like, I didn't pack right.
I forgot Vertigo, where it looks all foggy and cold. I forgot that.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. As always, this is great. You know, once you're on How, you're part of the crowdfunding family. If you got any other projects coming on, any other creators you think would be great guests, or if you're like, hey, you know, you've got so-and-so on, you know, I'd love to join you guys in the chat. You know, feel free to reach out. And
Awesome.
everyone, we will see you all next week with our guest Dave Ryan on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who's our guest Wednesday, Billy?
We have Jennifer Van Damsel, our very first crowdfunding cosplay.
Yes.
She makes all her costumes, and I met her, man, almost 10 years ago, I think. And she hung out with me, Jimmy, Amanda, and she was just this bright-eyed cosplayer. Now she's building this, you know, major empire, and she builds these amazing costumes, and she's just super smart, and she's a lot of fun. And she's a great, I think she's a great ambassador to the craft of cosplay.
Yes. Yeah, very talented, very talented. Yeah, and the first of our cosplayer guests. And then, you know, the week after that, we will finally have our real life Peter Griffin on, Robbie Franzine.
Yeah. So,
So,
and then we'll get to start working our Halloween shows.
yes. Well, we'll have our meetings in Baltimore to get everything together.
Absolutely. Precisely.
And we also have our panel on Friday at 4:30 next Friday for crowdfunding comics at Baltimore Comic Con. So if you guys are attending, make sure to check out the panel. We'll have more information on that in our shows next week.
Absolutely.
All right, absolutely indeed. All right, Howie, thanks so much for coming on the show. And like I said, man, anytime you want to come on, hang out, let us know. Let's get those K2 meters heat up, those mil meters. Let's do this, brother. All right, everyone.
Let's get to it.
Let's get
You're
to
an
it.
amazing guest.
Yes.
Really is a
Thank
privilege.
you.
Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And a talent, isn't he? All right,
Yeah.
everyone. We will see you next week. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Be merry. And we'll see you, America. Signing off.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell. You may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdFundComics with an X, Instagram Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon.